Okay, so here we go again. The anti-intersectionalists are striking a movement again. This is getting too far now. So Roger Yates, just made a video recently because someone posted something about take taking the movement back, making it only about animals and what have you. Yeah, and it's getting really toxic now. So let's watch this together, and we're gonna, and I'm going to tell you what I think as well. Because Roger's right. This is dangerous. It needs to stop.
Make a short statement about the National Animal Rights March.
Yeah, but about that also, like I said before, I really wanted to go to this march, and it's just a shame I missed it because of, I mean, London now, too far, too expensive. But anyway, let's carry on.
Now, I was a speaker at this year's event. In fact, I was the final speaker at this year's event. I'm not a member of the NARM collective, so I can't
Never heard of it. NARM Collective.
talk about the ins and outs of what goes on within the organization or the group, the collective. But there has been some chit chat on social media about taking this march over.
We want to take the whole movement over. I've seen on Discord, mostly, certain servers which have either been kicked off or left altogether because of really toxic vegans, which I've spoken about before, and I'll probably mention it a bit later. And then let's carry on.
And for the particular reason that it seems the allegation is that the people organizing this year's march, the one that I've just attended, and by implication, the speakers, don't care about our fellow animals.
Of course we don't.
Now,
Of course we care about
personally,
animals.
I resent this.
Yeah, it's just, we just want to make it. We're just fascist apologists. We just want to make it only about animals and everything. Blah blah blah. This is we can talk about it later.
Myself, I've been a vegan since 1979. I've been to prison for the animals, so I do actually take this a little bit personally, especially when you've got this kind of stuff. Let me just bring this up. So these are some of the comments that
So true ARA need to take the march back for the victims. It's not about us. Why don't you organise a march next year for those of us who actually care about animals? So I don't know who actually sent this and which video it was sent on or what. Yeah, but that's completely disgraceful. Whoever sent that, shame on you. Of course, you'll care about animals.
are being made on social media, that true animal rights activists need to take the National Animal Rights March back from,
Whatever you mean by that.
okay, but they need to do that for the animals. It's not about us. Now, I don't know whether you've seen any of the coverage of this year's National Animal Rights March, and there's thousands of pictures.
I've seen a few clips in that, not full videos. I saw Roger's speech on a video, so not anything else, but it was really good video. It was a really good speech, really good clips of images and stuff as well.
And there are numerous videos, many of them independently created. So where is this coming from?
No idea.
For the victims, as though the victims weren't mentioned in this march.
Stupid. No.
It's not about us. Who said it was? Now, that part might be aimed at my address when I talked about the values of the people who founded the vegan social movement. But we'll come back to that.
Probably.
And then the person who wrote about the march was asked in the comments, why don't you organize a march next year for those of us who actually care about animals? So what's that saying? That I don't? That people like Lynn Sawyer don't?
She's
Another
good.
speaker?
Fab.
People like Louise
She's good.
Ryan don't? Another speaker that I know those two.
They're brilliant people.
What's been
Louise and Lynn. I've known them in real life as well. Really good activists. Really good people.
said here? That suddenly we don't care about our fellow animals? You know, where's this coming from? Well, okay, let's answer my question. This is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Because this is another thread
As I said.
That's in the comments. This actually is the heart of the matter.
It is.
The truth is there are quite a few movements.
People like George fucking Martin, carnism debunked, and Kane, he made that disgusting video on George's video channel, and all the people commenting on it. They're the kind of people just as talking about, and on certain Discord servers. Yeah.
People in the movement now who actually don't like the movement that they've joined. They don't like the values of the movement they've joined.
No.
And so
they can fuck off then, can't they?
They want to change it.
No, they're not going
and
to change
one
it.
thing they don't
We
like
need to take it back.
is intersectionality. Now, we all know.
Yeah, because it's like, well, like before, like, they're okay with like Nazis and fascists and whatever, but they're not okay with vegans talking about human rights. I don't like vegans going on Palestine demos, which are mostly non-vegans. But they're all right with having a full-on fascist coming to an animal rights march. Absolutely disgusting, pathetic, evil. This is what's wrong with the vegan movement today. Absolute toxic.
Many of us know that, you know, the discourse about intersectionality has got very messy.
It has.
Over the years. And in some senses, I wish it had never been adopted in a vegan context in a way.
Yeah.
But
understandable.
Phrases that mean the same as this have been used in our movement for decades.
Yeah.
Uncontroversially. For example, the logic of domination, a feminist-inspired idea, or David Nybert's idea of entanglements, the entanglements of oppression and liberation.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in my speech, Donald Watson, the best-known co-founder of our movement, said that he realized that things are entangled.
Mm-hmm.
And that the problems of the world will be solved together or they won't be solved.
Yeah.
It was an early rehearsal, I suppose, of the idea of total liberation. But so this is our movement. This is our movement. And it's not been controversial to the last 10 years. So you've got a load of people coming into the movement now.
I've been vegan about 8 years. I think it's only in the past 2-3 years or so. It's when it's got really toxic now. It's really bad.
Stirring up trouble and dissent.
Yeah.
Making allegations about.
And like I said before, I think a lot of these vegans, they're more toxic than non-vegans. It's a sad truth, but it's true. Long-standing
vegans, that we somehow don't care about our fellow animals. We somehow have got another agenda, that we always put human issues first.
No.
There is no evidence, absolutely no evidence that this is true. And I resent this as somebody who's been to prison for the animals. I resent this accusation made against me. And
I've had it said about me as well sometimes as well. Disgusting.
I think that the accusation made against the march seems completely unfounded to me.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that it's going to be taken over As
Let me guess. Is it because Nam they put up a post recently calling that the genocide in Gaza? Is that it? Yes, pathetic. And yet some vegans they won't even speak about anything at all apart from some of them. It's absolute evil.
though there's some coup going on now
Yeah,
seems to be ridiculous.
yeah,
What we've got is people who don't, to repeat, they don't actually like the values of the movement that they've joined. And so they're trying to rewrite them.
yeah,
There's a lot of rewriting goes on in social movements. I've taught social movement theory, so I know that, but it's happening in the vegan movement. It's being rewritten, and in the animal rights movement, it's being rewritten. Tom Reagan, in The Case for Animal Rights, the groundbreaking text of animal rights theory, said that the vegan movement or the animal rights movement is a part of and not opposed to the human rights movement. Now, that is rejected now by modern day activists. They are coming into the movement, whether it's animal rights or whether it's vegan, and they're trying to rewrite its values because they don't like the founding values of the movement. They hate
yeah. They do.
our movement. They hate the values of our movement. And they're trying to flip this thing in a kind of 1984 thing, that it's the people who love the founding values of our movement, like myself, who hate the movement. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear that there's an attempted coup going on in the movement. I think it's time for us to stand up to this shit.
Absolutely, yeah.
We need to stand up to these people. They can't just come into an established movement and start rewriting it just because they don't like things. They can make arguments about change. That's just normal in a movement. But not through coups.
No.
And not through just rewriting things and saying, this is it. This is actually...
And saying shit like, oh yeah, let's take Nam back for the animals, when it was always about the animals. I don't know whoever posted that. He's pathetic.
What the movement is. And all the people that came before them, all the people until 10 years ago, they didn't know anything about veganism. They were all...
Yeah, well, I did it 8 years ago, but still, I consider myself a more old school vegan anyway. I feel more connected to the older vegans and a lot of the newer vegans. A lot of my real life friends are older vegans as well, Ronnie and Louise, who I've not seen for a few years or so, but it'd be good to get back in touch with them and all the others. They're more better, and they're all for anti-fascist as well, and what have you, anti-bigotry. That's what all the vegan needs to be about.
Wrong. They're the ones who know what veganism is.
Yeah.
Everybody else, including the people who actually started the movement, don't know what veganism is. I mean, the arrogance is astounding.
Yeah.
So look, I think in the next year, if this threat of coup comes into fruition, we're going to have to resist it.
Right.
We're going to have to defend our movement, people.
Right, absolutely.
From within,
yes.
Sadly. It's bad news.
Very.
Okay, that's my rant over.
Well said. Well said. And it needs to be said because this needs to be done now. People like carnism debunked and whoever wrote that message and others, Kane, etc., etc. I think we're going to get away with it, but they're not. Yeah. So yeah, anti-intersectionalists need to be stopped, and the animal rights movement needs to be what it was always has always been. The Hunt Sabs, ALF, no, they've always been intersectional. So yeah. So there you go.